Assalamu alaikum and good evening. Minister for Finance and Revenue, Mr. Mohammad Ishaq Dar Sahab, Secretary, NST, Amir Hassan Sahab, distinguished guests, and people who have taken time out to be with us, a warm welcome to the 7th and last session of the ISD conference. I may please request the Honorable Minister and the Secretary Sahab to join us here at the stage. Sir, please. Please. Thank you. My name is Fahim Sardar. I am a Senior Policy Specialist, Non-Traditional Security at the National Security Division. And it's my pleasure to give a very, very brief, it is my pleasure to give you a very brief introduction to this topic, which is economic security and the challenges that we face and what we're looking at. How do we define economic security? That's completely up to you, but how we can define it is basically the continuity and growth of economics. It's a simple definition, but it captures a lot of the things. Countries do not tolerate disruption in economics. Though any kind of disruption in economics is expensive and dangerous, and it reduces your options to do anything further. Countries that are very sensitive welcome disruptions with zero tolerance and covert and overt operations to neutralize any kind of disruption. Just a little bit about what we've been doing at the National Security Division in non-traditional security. Non-traditional security is directly linked to economic security, and we have successfully created the first framework of NTS, non-traditional security. And with that framework, we are basically identifying the actual problems that Pakistan has been facing. And when we say we perhaps have faced a loss of approximately 150 billion in the past 15 years, trust me, it's much more than that. We've also been looking to present actual solutions, practical, simple solutions to complex issues, whether it's economic hemorrhage, whether it's psychology, whether it's food, whether it's climate. We've also, through this framework, been focusing on new concepts like defensive economics, offensive economics, and this is something practiced throughout the world. We've also been focusing on how there can be ways to insulate the economy from internal as well as external disruptions. We're also looking at how to keep input costs low, how to focus on multipliers, and what to do with reforms. Just a quick word about economics and security. Technically, they're the same thing, two sides of the same coin. So one promotes the other promotes the other. So they go hand in hand. So if you talk about one, you should talk about the other. So that's what we're trying to do here. The National Security Division remains committed to providing a full spectrum response to Pakistan's challenges. And we know that the government of Pakistan has been very cognizant of this fact. And we're very lucky to have with us the Minister for Finance and Revenue, Senator Mr. Mohammad Ishaq Dar, to shed light on these aspects and to share his thoughts about how we can proceed forward and what we can do. Sir, I request you to please.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nahmadu wa nusalli ala Rasulil Kareem. Secretary, National Security Division, honorable diplomats, participants, speakers, participants, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and very good afternoon. I must compliment the National Security Division for holding this third annual event. I'm sure it's a great benefit to the country as well as to the professionals. I am indeed thankful to the National Security Division for inviting me at this important event. It is indeed a privilege and pleasure to address this august gathering on the critically important subject of economic reforms in Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, economic security remains key for Pakistan's ability to strengthen its national security by protecting the economy from any form of internal and external disruption, ensuring a defensive and offensive capacity in the economy, ensuring continuity of economic activity, ensuring continuity of growth, ensuring lowering of input costs, ensuring success at international forums, and strengthening human capital among the key points. Pakistan is blessed with a strategic location being at the crossroads of South, Central, and West Asia. To fully reap the benefits of its location, Pakistan has to shift its focus from geopolitics to geoeconomics. Pakistan is the fifth largest country on the globe, which means massive business potential and huge markets. Something alluded to by international financial businesses in 2006 when the fourth generation war was in full swing. Pakistan is focusing on economic diplomacy to increase Pakistan's economic footprints globally. Economics has to pave the way for national political interests. This is an essential aspect of selling to all countries, all things, every time, and to everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan's vision of economic security has traditionally been based on four core principles: connectivity, development partnership, socio-economic uplift, and peace within and beyond Pakistan borders. We are adding the following to this list: protection of the markets from undue volatility and disruption, controlling input costs, ensuring uninterrupted supply lines, and above all, ensuring continuous cycles of economic reforms which help achieve all these aspects. Ladies and gentlemen, in the context of geoeconomics, our priority in our own South Asia is the least geographically connected region of the world. Pakistan aims to focus on regional connectivity to change this reality. Regional cooperation and peace are important to tackle human security challenges, including climate change, food shortage, and water scarcity. Pakistan is actively leveraging its presence in SAARC, SCO, and ECO. Moreover, CPEC provides an effective platform to convert the regional connectivity into a global economic partnership. According to IMF World Economic Outlook for 2023, the global growth is expected to slow down to 2.8% in the current calendar year 2023 due to rising interest rates and Russia-Ukraine conflict, but China's reopening may positively impact growth in the coming years. Global inflation is expected to decline from 8.7% in 2022 to 7% in the current year 2023 on account of lower commodity prices, but it is still projected to remain above pre-pandemic levels. Trade volume growth in 2022 were at 2.7% compared to 9.4% in 2021, and the value of world merchandise trade was 12% in 2022, inflated by high global commodity prices. World merchandise trade volumes is projected to grow by 1.7% in 2023 before picking up to 3.2% in year 2024. with downside risk from geopolitical tensions, food insecurity, monetary policy tightening, and increasing debt. Let me share with you some of the important events that have impacted global economic activity in the last 1 year. The first of all, Russia-Ukraine war. The Russian-Ukraine war conflict started from February 2022, has surely disrupted the global economic recovery from COVID-19, causing shockwaves across financial and commodity markets, driving up inflation through increasing commodity prices, disrupting trade and supply chains, reducing business confidences, and increasing capital outflows from emerging markets, with energy and food prices surging rapidly and posing a challenge for developing economies, including Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, the second important event, in my opinion, is US-China trade disruption. A US-China trade disruption had harmed the global economy by reducing economic activity for countries imposing and subject to tariffs and causing collateral damage to countries on the sidelines. However, the trade war has increased trade among other countries, stimulating globalization and proving to be an opportunity for other nations due to the spillover effect of the deteriorating economic and political relations between the two superpowers. 3, low-intensity conflicts. There are low-intensity conflicts which disrupt economics and supply chains. The fourth is COVID variant. COVID-19 pandemic caused a massive collapse in human capital at critical moments in the life cycle, derailing developments for millions of children and young people in the low and middle income countries. Regional bloc, Chinese efforts to work with Iran and Saudi Arabia. The Iran and Saudi Arabia agreement to re-establish relations after years of hostility that had threatened stability and security in the Gulf and helped fuel conflicts in the Middle East from Yemen to Syria. It's a very welcome sign. China played key role as a mediator in resolving these long-standing issues between the regional foes. Let me share with you that Pakistan did attempt when Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif was the Prime Minister of Pakistan during 2013-18. We made a serious attempt at that time. Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, Army Chief General Raheel Sharif, and myself as Finance Minister, we visited Saudi Arabia and we offered to mediate what China has done now, but at that time, unfortunately, we could not succeed at the request of the countries who matter. Tehran and Riyadh recently agreed, and it's a very welcome, as I said, to resume diplomatic relations and reopen embassies within 2 months. The agreement includes their affirmation of the respect for the sovereignty of states and the non-interference in international affairs. Let's talk of a global development agenda. The Sustainable Development Goals, commonly known as SDGs, and also known as the Global Goals, GGs, were adopted by the United Nations in 2015 as a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that by 2030, all the people enjoy peace and prosperity. At the heart of 2030 agenda are 5 critical dimensions. I call it 5 Ps: people, prosperity, planet, partnership, and peace. The 17 SDGs are integrated. They recognize that actions in one area will affect outcomes in others, and that development must balance social, economic, and environmental sustainability. Ending poverty and other deprivations must go hand in hand with strategies that improve health and education, reduce inequality, and spur economic growth. Economic security as fundamental of national security. The Constitution of Pakistan speaks of economic fundamentals in very clear terms, in that it is bedrock of our society. Economic security of Pakistan is the foremost priority within the overall security calculus because a well-functioning, dynamic, and robust economy can only help to bolster the other pillars of national security. Loss of economic security, ladies and gentlemen, especially allowing any form of interference in domestic markets, economic backwardness, and failure to create jobs leads to social conflict, political instability, and weakens national security. Economic insecurity leads, obviously, to erosion of national security and national sovereignty. Pakistan is one of the most susceptible countries to climate change, which has huge economic cost in the form of floods, lower farm productivity due to water scarcity, and lower worker productivity due to harsh environmental conditions. To mitigate these risks, Pakistan should take steps to ensure food security for a fast-growing population, invest in resilient agriculture and infrastructure, water management practices, and effective management of groundwater. Cognizant of this fact, the present government is strongly committed to manage the national economy in a most efficient and effective manner, both at the macro and micro levels, to achieve higher, sustainable, and inclusive economic growth. Let me discuss with you domestic situation. I avail this opportunity to enlighten you about the prevailing conditions of our economy. What was it a year before when a new government was installed, and how we intend to deal with the deep challenges, and what are our plans to overcome our economic problems. Ladies and gentlemen, this government inherited unsustainable economic growth due to the severe macroeconomic imbalances. The overheated economy led to widening of current account and budget deficit, what we call the twin deficits country. These severe macroeconomic imbalances had brought Pakistan to a brink of financial serious situation. I am not using the word collapse. The IMF program was off track as the previous government not only reneged on its commitments, but also took 180-degree opposite steps before it was, through a constitutional move, voted out. On the external side, the trade deficit had widened to $39.7 billion in the fiscal year 2022. The current account deficit was $17.4 billion. Due to poor economic governance, our foreign direct investment had declined to $1.9 billion. High trade deficit, current account deficit, led to state bank forex reserves to a declining trend. On the fiscal side, the deficit was at 7.9% of GDP. During 2018-22, huge amount was added to the circular debt, which reached to 2,467 billion, and the public debt ballooned from 25 trillion to 44.5 trillion rupees, an increase of 78%. If you look into public debt and liabilities, that figure ballooned from 30,000, just under 30 trillion or 30,000 billion rupees to 54.5 trillion, which was 79% increase in a period of just 4 years. The unprecedented floods affected all sectors of the economy. Overall damage is estimated to be $14.9 billion. Loss to the GDP, if added $15.2 billion, it makes over $31 billion loss to Pakistan economy due to the floods catastrophe Pakistan witnessed during the year 2022. The UNDP, Asian Development Bank, European Union, World Bank, assisted by the Pakistan Planning Division, has estimated that Pakistan will require $16.3 billion for the rehabilitation and reconstruction work. The immediate rescue and recovery work, which was over 100 billion rupees, was spent by the government at a fast speed. So the economic outlook had deteriorated to flood-related damages and disruptions, a tight monetary stance, high inflation, depreciating currency, and a less conducive global environment, which I have just explained. So, what could be a roadmap ensuring sustainable and inclusive economic growth? Ladies and gentlemen, due to shrinking fiscal space, it was difficult for the government to continue the provision of subsidy on petroleum and different other areas, which was rolled back by increasing petroleum prices by levy of PDL, Petroleum Development Levy, a commitment of the previous government over a phased manner. The rolling back the untargeted subsidies in the gas and the power sector in order to make those sectors viable. The government also imposed a complete ban on the import of more than 3 dozen non-essential luxury items as part of an emergency economic plan to tackle high trade deficit and depleting forex reserves. The tightening of the monetary policy and fiscal consolidation measures helped in moderating demand to a more sustainable pace while keeping inflation expectations anchored and containing risks to external stability. Ladies and gentlemen, government is cognizant about the hardship of society but took many difficult decisions to fulfill the sovereign commitment of the previous government at the time of signing of the EFF program with IMF in 2019. We took these decisions at a very high political cost to the political parties who have formed the current government. We believe that the state is more important than politics. Government took the difficult decision through necessary actions to stabilize the economy and to deal with the looming balance of payments crisis, economic diplomacy to seek support from other bilateral, multilateral, and friendly countries is part of these efforts of this government. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just share some current data with you. The tax collections of FBR has increased by around 18% to 5,156 billion rupees during July-March, the first 9 months of this fiscal year, as compared to 4,376 billion in the last year. The current account posted a deficit of 3.4 billion against a deficit of 13 billion US dollars in the corresponding period last year, July to March, which has now narrowed by 74%. The current account deficit in the month of March has shown a surplus after 2020, first time with a figure of 645 million US dollar. And we expect the number is being finalized in the next few days, that the April vote also, God willing, will show a current account surplus, inshallah. The trade deficit, July-March was 35.5 billion last year, which has shrunk by 35.5% to 22.9 billion US dollars. The fiscal deficit stood at 2.8% of GDP, in numbers 2,392 billion during July-February current fiscal year, as compared to 3.4% of GDP last fiscal year 2022. During July-February, the primary balance posted a surplus of 781 billion, which is 0.9% of GDP, against the deficit of 399 billion, 0.6% of GDP last year. Now let's talk some economic reforms which are in the way in Pakistan. Pakistan has resolute in its dedication to implementing economic reforms with a focus on creating a conducive environment for investment, promoting entrepreneurship, and fostering inclusive growth. We have undertaken a series of bold and ambitious reforms to address structural imbalances, improve the business climate, and enhance the competitiveness of our economy. One of the key pillars of our economic reforms agenda is fiscal consolidation and resource mobilization. We have taken measures to rationalize government spending, broaden the tax base, improve revenue collection. These efforts are aimed at reducing our fiscal deficit, manage our debt sustainability, and create fiscal space for critical investments in infrastructure, human capital, and social protection. Ladies and gentlemen, to reduce current expenditure, the Prime Minister has announced a robust austerity initiative which includes the cabinet members foregoing their salary. The FPR is working hard to increase revenue collection and tax to GDP ratio through various tax policy and administrative measures and reforms. In this regard, efforts are being made through maximum taxpayer facilitation, automation, ease of doing business, reducing human interaction, minimizing procedural complications, broadening tax base, increasing tax awareness, and improving the overall efficiency of the tax machinery. Agriculture is a vital sector of Pakistan economy, employing a significant portion of our population. Our government has implemented agriculture sector reforms, including incentives to the livestock sector, increase crop yield, and modernize the agriculture sector with increase the use of the machine, modernizing irrigation and provision of quality seeds, withdrawal of sales tax on supply of tractors, agriculture implements through a 1,700 billion rupees Kisan package. These reforms are aimed at improving agriculture productivity, increasing farmers' income, and promoting food security in the country. The recent bumper crop of wheat is, alhamdulillah, an outcome of this initiative. Another critical area of reform is improving the ease of doing business in Pakistan. We have implemented measures to simplify regulatory procedures, streamline business registration, and enhance contract enforcement. These reforms are aimed at attracting both domestic and foreign investment, stimulating entrepreneurship, and creating employment opportunity for our youth. Government has approved greenfield industrial policy to encourage industry to adopt new efficient technologies. The government is also focusing on promoting innovation and technology in the industrial sector. This will help businesses become more competitive and will lead to development of new industries and products in the country. The industrial sector has the potential to contribute significantly to the country's exports and foreign exchange earnings. The government is committed to support businesses to increase their export capacity and access new markets. The government is also working on promoting small and medium enterprises, SMEs, to ensure inclusive economic growth and reduce poverty in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, government is also working to overcome the energy-related issues. For the purpose, solar policy and power sector indigenization plan are in progress to generate adequate renewable energy. Further, government is considering certain policy measures, for example, improved tariff structure, and to provide enabling environment for investors to set up plants for production of petrochemical locally in Pakistan. We would be hopefully coming very soon with a bonded storage policy in the petrochemical industry, hopefully very soon. The present government is committed to modernizing investment laws based on best practices to improve the investment climate in the country. This includes strong coordination between the public and private sectors to enhance human capital through training programs. Focusing on identifying and incentivizing high growth potential firms and SMEs is also a priority of this government. Efforts are being made to revive and expand the scope of cooperation in areas such as CPAC, water resources management, climate change, mining, agriculture, and energy and industrial sectors. These measures aim to enable the country to achieve higher, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth. Ladies and gentlemen, we are committed to boost Pakistan's exports to reduce the trade deficits and enhance economic competitiveness. The government has implemented several policy incentives, including regional competitive energy tariffs for export-oriented sectors, rationalization of import custom tariffs, elimination of custom duties on imports of dyes and chemicals, and rationalization of customs duties on various tariff lines. A regulatory framework has been formulated to facilitate exports through international platforms, and the functions of export finance schemes have been digitized to promote the use of digital channels and improve operational efficiency. These initiatives aim to increase exports from Pakistan, enhance the case of possibility of making our export to GDP increase, and also contribute towards ease of doing business in the export sector in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan has reformed its state-owned enterprises, SOEs, to enhance their performance, given their significance in the country's economy and essential services. The SOEs Act 2023 establishes a legal framework for improving the management and financial efficiency of federal government-owned, state-owned enterprises. It covers governance, ownership, management, responsibilities, powers and functions of SOE boards of directors. This act also creates a central monitoring unit to evaluate SOE's performance. The SOE policy seeks to clarify federal government's shareholding responsibilities, ensure informed and active shareholders' participation, and manage fiscal risks related to state-owned enterprises. A robust and stable financial sector is essential for economic growth in any country. In this field, State Bank of Pakistan, in line with the international best practices, introduced a comprehensive set of reforms to enhance supervision and resilience of the banking system, which, together with the efforts of our government, translated in number one, removal of Pakistan from FATF grey list, continued to implementation of the National Financial Inclusion Strategy, and Roshan Digital Account. Ladies and gentlemen, this government is also committed to promoting social welfare and poverty alleviation. We have implemented targeted social safety net programs to support vulnerable segments of the society, including cash transfer programs, health and education subsidies. These measures are aimed at creating a more inclusive and equitable society where everyone has an opportunity to thrive. In order to alleviate the difficulties of the less fortunate segment of the society, we increased VISP allocation by 40 billion rupees to 400 billion rupees in March 2023 and increased the stipend of the beneficiary by 25% with effect from 1st January 2023. Let me share on this poverty alleviation and the VISP program, which was quoted as one of the leading and successful programs by the World Bank in many African countries. How did it begin? I was part of the coalition government in 2008 with Pakistan People's Party as representative of Pakistan Muslim League and as finance minister, second time in my stint. I came up with the idea in the cabinet that we must look after this segment of the society. In Islamic Republic, this is the prime responsibility of the state. I was working out, I took oath, I remember, 31st of March 2008. In April, I presented my blueprint idea in the name of National Income Support Fund, NISP. We had one agenda or condition, whatever you call, in the coalition government to join, and that was restoration of judiciary, if you recall, 2008. So everybody in the cabinet was very excited. It's a very good, noble thing you're thinking. It must be done. But unfortunately, within the timeline, when that condition could not be fulfilled by our coalition partner, which was the senior partner or majority partner in that government, we had to quit from the government, but I left the blueprint budget for the cabinet in May. I remember 13th of May, 2008. It included National Income Support Fund with an allocation of 34 billion rupees. If you pick up the budget of 2008 and 9, after I left, this program began 1st of July 2008 with 34 billion allocation, first time in the Pakistan budget. 2008-13 passed, this allocation increased to 40 billion. God gives me a third time opportunity to be Finance Minister of Pakistan in June 2013. So between 2013 and 2018, this program was given a big kick from 40 billion to 124 billion. We have now come back, and this program we have given another boost from 360 billion to 400 billion with a 25% stipend. I thought I'd share history. This probably is not documented anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about way forward and some points on conclusion. Our economic vision is to shape a brighter future for Pakistan's economy by improving efficiency, enhancing productivity, increasing investment, creating wealth by unleashing the entrepreneurial energies of private sector. The focus is to move to the next phase of CPEC, whereby we encourage relocation of Chinese labor-intensive industries to Pakistan's special economic zones. Now, this has been delayed for 5 years. This idea was incorporated in the original CPEC program, but unfortunately, we have made no headway or progress on this account. We can surely attract, because the labor cost per unit in China has already gone beyond Pakistan labor cost. So we are a clear candidate for relocation of those industries. We were already a clear candidate for this particular traction of the investment in Pakistan even in 2017-18. Let me remind you, JETRO, the famous Japanese, the think tank, what did they say? Pakistan is likely to be the second choicest place for foreign direct investment. You should look back in the internet and the history, Pakistan, the way you had the low inflation, 2% food inflation, 4% CPI, you had 6% plus growth, you had 6% policy rate, you had best stock market in the South Asia, the 5th best stock market in the world. You were 24th economy by 2017, from a macroeconomic, unstable economy in 2013. This is the resilience Pakistan had. Unfortunately, because of flawed policies, we have landed Pakistan in the next 4 years by 2022 as 47th world economy. Now this is, heartbreaking for me as a Pakistani. So we have to continue our efforts. We have to privatize SOEs. We have to focus on the renewable energy. We have to incentivize investments. We have to ensure structural reforms by focusing on export growth. We have to improve investment climate and attract domestic and foreign investment through effective implementation of investment promotion strategy. Developed and operationalized special economic zones, fostering on export promotion, import substitution, and employment generation is our priority. To make youth the strength of the nation through various youth skill development programs. You might have seen Prime Minister is running few schemes for this youth program, and I think they must be encouraged. The protection of markets and their neutral function as pricing are being enshrined in the current economic system. New electronic barter markets are being considered to lessen the burden on the financial markets and supplies. The aspiration is to put the Pakistan economy on higher, sustainable, and inclusive growth trajectory through higher investment, efficiency, and enhanced productivity. To realize these objectives, short, medium, and long-term economic programs have to be underway for all sectors of our economy. Measures are focused on establishing and strengthening an economy that is not only self-reliant, but also capable of competing with its competitors around the globe and in the region. The government is committed to pursuing comprehensive economic reforms in Pakistan. We have made significant progress in stabilizing the economy. The declining trend has stopped. Our biggest challenge is to generate more revenue, invest in infrastructure, promote exports, support social welfare, and implement sector-specific reforms. However, can I say that we have done enough and we need no more? No, this is not true. There's still much to be done, and we should all be determined as a nation, as a society, as a country, that we will do all which is required. We should be determined to continue our efforts to create a more prosperous and inclusive economy for the people of Pakistan. It is possible. We should aim at first reverting back to as 24th economy of the world. We were 24th economy just 5 years back. It's nothing new you will achieve. You are projected as a country to be part of the global G20 Premier Club, as 18th economy, leaving Canada and Italy behind you by 2030. That is the loss Pakistan has witnessed in the recent few years. We have to catch up, go back to that developments and the growth strategy and trajectory, get back Pakistan to 24th, and re-enter in that race of getting into part of G20, God willing, inshallah. With these words, I am grateful for your very patient hearing, and I'll welcome few questions. Thank you very much indeed. Pakistan Zindabad.
Thank you, Mr. Minister, for this holistic and comprehensive overview of economic security and aspects that are related to it. I think we have a small window for a few questions, so just to manage time, I'll take the questions, which then I will pass on to the Mr. Sahib. And if there are any questions from the audience. Yes, please. I would request you to please just keep the questions a little short, please, kindly. Do we have a mic? Just a second, just a second. Mic there then, please. Ji, is it on? Please.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Muhammad Sarmat Zia. My question is for the Finance Minister, please.
Ji.
We've seen the Finance Minister before you, Mr. Miftah, sorry. He's come up with some strange, things that he has revealed with regards to the policy that he was trying to bring for the country, and which was then suspended once it was revealed that you would be coming and becoming the Finance Minister. So a lot of the things that was said in his time and after he was removed from the post as well sort of show that there was a lot of infighting in PMLN. And later on, obviously, the things that happened, even during his time, the economy was becoming much more stable than it was when the, post the vote of no confidence. So how exactly do you explain the policy deviation that took place once he was removed as well and you were brought in? Because obviously things sort of started going south from there onwards.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, I will take 2-3 questions and then I will hand it over. Ji, can we have another question? I'll take 2-3 questions collectively. Any other question? Over there, please. Over there. I would request you to please maintain a financial and economics perspective of the question so that we can just focus on that. Ji.
What is your homework and preparedness to make our economy better during the regional and global level instability?
Okay, the question, आप से पूछ लें.
Can I repeat?
जी.
Sir, I am Zev from Kazim University, student of security studies. Sir, my question is, what is your homework and preparedness to make our economy better during the geostrategic and geopolitical competition in the region and vis-a-vis regional and global level instability between great powers? Thank you.
Okay, can we have another question? We'll take 3, then I'll hand it over to the Finance Minister. Is there any other question? We have a question over there.
Hello.
Over there, please. The lady in the 3rd row. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Irta. I'm from Institute of Regional Studies. I would like to ask for the better future of Pakistan, for the better stability, economic finance. How do you see that to expand more budget on security is more important, or is it to expand more budget on import or export or trading, for example, with our neighbor country, India?
Okay. Mr. Minister, if I can summarize the questions. Sir, what policy changes came about? Secondly, what is our preparedness in dealing with the regional changes? And thirdly, is it more advisable to go towards security expenditure or to sort of put our resources towards trade?
बहुत शुक्रिया जी. I'll try to just deal with all the 3 questions. You see, it is prerogative of any government, is a coalition government, and I think the individuals do not matter. It is the policies which we should be looking at. So the policy in vogue was to ensure that we successfully complete the IMF program And let me share with you that despite spending a huge political cost, this government has actually not only delivered what was honored, but also taken care of the sovereign commitments you made in 2019 in the EFF program, particularly the removal of the untargeted subsidies in power sector, in gas sectors, and you see your fiscal reforms, your RISE program. So all those difficult things have been actually delivered and completed. You may say that why there is a delay in the signing of staff level agreement. So the technical work concluded on 9th of February. So there was some external account gap, which if you recall at the time of 7th and 8th review, soon after this government came, so there were certain friendly countries that made some commitments to support Pakistan bilateral. So those were the commitments. So now obviously IMF is waiting for those commitments to actually materialize and physically Pakistan to be helped. So things are very much under control, and hopefully, we would move forward. The overall policy, your question, I would say that, as I said, we should, first of all, the idea was to halt the economic declining trend which was going on in terms of your different macroeconomic indicators. So that has almost halted. Now we should make effort to reverse it to the positive trajectory. And what should be the aim? I have shared my mind that we should first aim to go back where we were 5 years ago. You were 24th global economy, and you were projected not by ABC, but PricewaterhouseCoopers, the global authority. Their report is available on the website that Pakistan would be part of G20 by 2030. The effort should have been that as a nation, we put our efforts together and try to reduce the timeline. And it was possible. But unfortunately, I don't want to enter into blame game and the reasons why we failed. But we should now get back to not only 24th, but also achieve the projected position for Pakistan, which was part of G20. The second question about the stability, and you see it's a global. I have explained what are the reasons, the domestic reasons, the regional reasons, and the global reasons why we are here, where are we today. So in order to deal with these things, this is an extraordinary phase, I would say, but we have to come out of it, and we can. But you see, there is no quick magic wand or electricity button off and on that you just put on with the change of a person or with the change of a team, that you just recoup everything which you have lost. So we are in that process. Just compare, I remember 98, 99, the one of the worst and the most difficult period when Pakistan decided to detonate. And again, history is part of the history that I accompanied Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif to the NDC, which is now NDU, where General Jahangir Kamath gave briefing, and we decided at the end of that briefing that Pakistan should react and detonate to Indian detonation. As a Pakistani, I believe if that would not have been done, you had post 9/11 very serious situations where Pakistan could have been subjected to very serious, grave threats and grave consequences. Alhamdulillah, Pakistan is a nuclear power. Pakistan is a missile power, and this capacity God has given you has deterred the bad, evil eyes to look Pakistan in a different way. So you see, these are the things which you have. So obviously, we did not expect after decision to detonate and actually detonating our toys that the world will send us, barring our Muslim community and Ummah, that they would send us bouquets of flowers and complimented messages. We were ready to face the sanctions. So we faced the sanctions, and that was the most difficult time. First time I was given the responsibility of handling the finance ministry was 6th of November 1998. And I remember it took us 8 months to revive the IMF program. It was no difficult than the current scenario. So you see, these challenges come in a nation's history. But by 30th of June 1999, it was all behind us. All pending liabilities were clear, business was as usual, the reserves were almost 5.8 times, almost 4 months of the import bill, etc., etc. So you see, these challenges come in life. So was the 2013 era. When we won the elections, Pakistan was macroeconomic unstable country. It was declared to default within 6 to 7 months. Oh, I see this third time, no different situation. So we take it as a challenge, but inshallah, God willing, we are managing. And let me tell you, many global actors are very surprised how Pakistan is managing, why it has not yet defaulted, why it has not become Sri Lanka. So you have been reading their statements, Pakistan will default, will default, will default. I just read 3 days ago a rating agency telling that Pakistan has to pay $3.7 billion in May and June. Yes, we have to pay 3. It's nothing secret. But why are you trying to create a suspense by referring it to Pakistan State Bank Reserve or National Reserve, which are 10 billion? So I had to respond, yes, we know that this is due and we have made all the arrangements to take care of this thing. So every sovereign commitment has been paid on time, well before, a day before or on time. Not a single payment has been, in delay in the last so many months and since this comment came. And let me assure you, now the moment we clarify our great friends global, we come up with another rating agency statement that Pakistan, now since I clarified, the one rating was talking about June, May and June. I reacted. Now the next day, the new thing was that Pakistan, if IMF program doesn't materialize, Pakistan will default between 1st July to December. Oh, for heaven's sake, please, hold your horses. Every payment, even let me tell you, till December, every payment is taken care of. Pakistan, inshallah, will not default, IMF or no IMF. We will, inshallah, we are a sovereign country. We know how to manage our things. We have managed in the worst sanctions when we nuclear detonated. We managed in 2013. But please have peace of mind and don't get, taken away or carried away by such statements. I don't know what is their aim. I think this unfair, I'm not using strong word, this unfair global politics must end vis-a-vis Pakistan. It's not fair. The delay even on the account of IMF is extraordinary. It should have been signed ages ago. I have dealt with 30 years with this institution as 4th time finance minister. This SLA should have been signed ages ago. But don't let them try and take their time. We have no issue. We are giving everything they ask for under the sky. So you see, don't spread rumors like these things which nervous the markets. So what is the aim? So let me tell you, inshallah, God willing, Pakistan is there to stay. Pakistan will progress. Pakistan will develop. Pakistan will be back 4th economy. Not only, but inshallah, one day will be part of G20. My prayers, my efforts, and all of our efforts. This is our country. It has to stay and progress and prosper. God willing, inshallah.
Thank you very much. Mr. Minister, I would request you. Mr. Minister.
The third question was very interesting. You have to create a balance. I think this goes back to this question is very interesting कि security पे ज़्यादा खर्च करना चाहिए या development पे या trade or development. You have to create a balance. So the both are equally important. So it has been our endeavor. I mean, I've been part of, as I said, for the last 3 decades, part of the classified programs of Pakistan, which I can't even talk in detail in any forum on the globe. But this is a responsibility to ensure that as we are keen and we are working hard for the development, we make sure that there is no compromise on the security side. And I think the best thing Pakistan did was to go a nuclear power, the Pakistan to go a missile power. So with those deterrents, you don't have to have the conventional competition, which by size, sometimes it is impossible or unmanageable to have the same quantity as maybe your neighbor has. So this is Alhamdulillah, our priority has always been, the size of the pie, which we increase. Let me remind you, in the last stint as Finance Minister 2013-17, Pakistan security expenditure was given an unprecedented increase in the history of Pakistan. From 550 to, my fifth budget is 1156 billion. So you see and at the same time, the PSDP, which is the development program of Pakistan, and the what you said, trade and investment and all this, that was tripled from almost 365 billion to 1 trillion in the fifth budget. So you see, we have to create balance between the two. If we tilt towards one side and you ignore the other, you can't afford it. So it's a very fine balance you have to create, and that we, alhamdulillah, we always maintain as a country. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Mr. Minister, for the candid remarks, and we would request you to continue to grace us for a little bit longer. I would request the Secretary, NSD, Amir Hassan Saab, to please give a vote of thanks.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ladies and gentlemen, I would just like to say a few words of thanks for everyone who has made this conference a success. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Hassan Iqbal, the Federal Minister for Planning, Development and Special Initiatives, for inaugurating the dialogue, and Honorable Mr. Ishaq Dar Saab, Minister for Finance and Revenue, for closing the dialogue. We are also grateful to him for sanctioning the budget for this conference, without which it would not have been possible. We are also thankful to the other ministers who graced the occasion, Ms. Shari Rahman, Engineer Khurram Dastagir Khan, Ms. Aisha Ghaus Pasha, and Ms. Hina Rabbani Khar. Apart from them, we are grateful to diplomats, members of the armed forces, military commanders, and national security advisors of various countries, students who are all present even now here, and especially our distinguished speakers, not only from Pakistan, but from abroad, who came to attend this conference. And they were had an extremely demanding schedule, but they took time out of that and delivered their remarks here. Especially in this current challenging situation, we are grateful to all of them. I would also like to thank the team of the SPPC at NSD, led by Syed Hassan Akbar, Fahim Sardar, who is here, Sadia Zahoor, Majid Mahmood, Abbas Hassan, and Zainul Abdin, for invaluable intellectual efforts in putting this conference together and making it a success once again. I would also like to thank the team of NSD, led by Additional Secretary Ms. Sara Aslam, and joined by Joint Secretary Mir Afzal Khan, Britani Deputy Secretary, Mr. Ghulam Jalani Deputy Secretary, Mudassir Admin Officer, Nadeem Akhtar and Pervez Akhtar's private secretaries, and all other staff members of NSD and SPPC for managing the administrative and logistic aspects of the conference, which have contributed to our collective success. I would also like to thank the think tanks of our advisory board, namely Islamabad Policy Research Institute, Institute of Strategic Studies, Islamabad Center for Aerospace and Security Studies, Institute for Regional Studies, and Institute for Strategic Studies, Research and Analysis of NDU for their support and contributions to the dialogue. Lastly, I would like to thank all our guests who have participated in person and online to listen patiently to the discussions during the 2 days of the conference, especially in view of the challenging security situation. We hope to see all of you next year for another wonderful edition of the Islamabad Security Dialogue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Mr. Minister, we have a little something for you, and I would request the Secretary Saab to please present it to the Minister as a token of remembrance. Thank you very much. Sir, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you all for your presence.